average of any of the opponents they have faced this season. The offense has been there, and so is the pitching against Boston. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. For the Orioles, who would have thought these two teams would be battling for the underside, not the upper side of the division, but that's what it is coming into this ball game. For the Orioles, get to 500. That is the goal right now. Can they do it against Boston? We'll take a look. These are the numbers that have come up this season so far. Here at Camden Yards, the Orioles 5-1. They've won 5 in a row here. Big batting average against Boston, 6.7 runs a game, while the ERA is 3.44. At Fenway Park this year, they have gone 4-3, high batting average of 2.93, 4.3 runs a game, and a great ERA of 2.93. So overall, Jim Palmer, Homer Road, they've played the Red Sox tough.
Well, they really have, and of course, this is a different Red Sox team that we've seen pretty much all year long. I guess the irony, Gary, they spend $95 million for Pablo Sandoval. They get Hanley Ramirez as their left fielder, even though he's not a left fielder, for $88 million. 3 new starting pitchers. And now most exciting thing about the team is that they're winning. They won 18 out of the last 28, but they have an all-star as far as athletic outfield. So a little different look. Of course, the Orioles come off a weekend where they hit 10 home runs, 2 of them grand slams, so bombs away. And again, you got 2 really good young pitchers on the mounds tonight.
It'll be interesting. It's a great matchup of interest to Oriole fans on both ends of it. Kevin Gausman, who looks to be in this rotation for a long time, and a young left-hander named Rodriguez, who might have been in the Orioles rotation.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we talk about it all the time. There wasn't a day when he was with the Orioles. He got traded for Andrew Miller at the All-Star break, where the day after he pitched, Buck Showalter is saying, got to see this Eduardo Rodriguez kid. So power arm, he's pitched very well. He's only 22 years old. He's 9-5. Kevin Gausman, he's only won 1 of his 14 starts, Gary, but as you know, they do not score runs for him when he pitches. Maybe tonight will be a little different.
Boy, he hopes so. After the offense the Orioles put up against the Kansas City Royals and what they've done against Boston, you come into this ball game believing you got a real shot. And 500 is a mark, Jim, they want to get to. It's not just for this year. It's to have a number to build on for next season, even though they're still mathematically in a race for the wild card.
Yeah, I think, Buck talks about when, as you mentioned, they won 4 out of 5. He said, when we had our pregame meeting, it was, we're going to win this night. We're going to win every other game. Now, it didn't happen because they lost 14-6 against the Royals, but they did win 2 out of 3. And when you talk about this ball club, they're free, they're loose. We know the starting pitching has to be a little bit better, but they don't plan on losing again this year unless somebody beats them. And that's baseball.
All right, we'll get a chance to see whether or not it can be the Red Sox tonight here in this ball game. Big story for Boston coming in, of course, is the fact that David Ortiz has reached the 500 homer mark. He set out a ball game after reaching that mark. David will be in the lineup again tonight, and he has hit a lot of home runs here at Camden Yards.
Well, he has. He hits home runs everywhere, to be quite honest. So anyway, we'll see him tonight. And, of course, we had our Twitter war. All things are good. I congratulate. Anytime you hit 500 home runs, you're 1 of 27th. You got to shake hands with a guy that's been able to do that.
And he has. Orioles are just as soon as go 0 for 4 or 5 tonight, though. It's the Red Sox and the Orioles game 1. Great to have you with us. We'll be right back. First pitch. We're talking Coons. Beautiful day. Feel fall in the air around Baltimore. Take a look at our BGE home game time temperature. 73 degrees. Very pleasant night. 37% humidity. BGE Home, Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? So the Orioles 9-4 against the Red Sox. Some names that weren't there the last time these teams met. Bet, Rutledge, and Bogarts. Ortiz, Travis Shaw at first. Sandoval, Rusney Castillo back playing well. Blake Swihart will work behind the plate. Jackie Bradley Jr.'s back. And for David Ortiz, the 500 homer DH. There are the numbers against the Orioles.
And Kevin Gausman, talk about youngsters. This is one. Former #1 draft choice out of LSU, 2012. So again, rushed to the big leagues, and why not? Real good fastball. You know, the breaking ball was outstanding. You know, he was able to get over it. He's kind of shoved the slider to the side, thrown curveballs. Splitter was great against the Yankees in his last start. And again, the numbers, the 2 and 6, one as a reliever, first game of the year for the Orioles, and then this is his 14th start, one win as a starter, but they just don't score a lot of runs. Maybe that will change tonight. Good numbers across the board, other than maybe some home runs. And Gary, as you know, he struggles, and when he does struggle, it's usually early in the game.
Gausman has not had a victory since August 1st. 0-4 record, 4.99 ERA since the 1st of August. In the games since then, he has had 4 losses, 3 no decisions. So he really wants to get out of that. As Jim said, the 1 start, twice as a reliever against Boston this year, and the 1-0 record. So Kevin goes to work tonight. No breeze blowing here at the start of the ball game. Sunset time. Not a cloud in the sky as Mookie Betts will stand in. Longest hit streak going right now in the majors at 18 games. And it has been a legitimate streak. He's hitting .395 with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs during his 18-game hit streak. Gausman will get the pitch in there for a strike, and we are underway.
Yeah, and he can beat you. You know, he can beat you with home runs. He can steal bases. Again, that hitting streak, a lot of speed, infield hits, makes contact. This will be a nice test for him. In fact, it's a test for Gausman because since the 30th of July, they've averaged 6 runs a game, a little bit over 6 runs a game as a team.
1 ball, 1 strike count, 2 for 4. Betts against Gausman. Good pitch down and away. Kept it off the outside corner. Ball and 2 strikes. Kevin, who comes in with that 2 and 6 record, 70% of leadoff batters retired on the year. Good solid number. And Betts, of course, always tough to get out of there in that leadoff spot. Little grounder. Here's where the speed comes into play. Hardy's got to hustle. Does. And gets it. Take a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers. Speaking of this Red Sox team and their September story.
Yeah, that's September. And then you go all the way back to the end of July. So you're over 6 runs a game for a long, long time. They were 12 games under 500. So again, those are some of your numbers. The ERA, they're scoring almost 2 runs more than they are giving up, and that's how you get back close to 500.
And the pitch taken for a strike on the outside corner. Rutledge is playing at second base. Dustin Pedroia injured much of the second half of the season on a slow return, take it easy basis, since the team's not going anywhere as far as the postseason is concerned. So Rutledge called up and getting an opportunity to get some playing time in. There is Pedroia, out 7 weeks with the injury before he came back and available to play. Foul back by Rutledge, and a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
Yeah, and then Dustin plays 13 innings. It took him 13 innings to score 2 runs. They struck out 19 times, but still won the game on Rusney Castillo's 13th in base hit.
1-2 delivery is just going to miss inside. Bill Miller, the crew chief, home plate umpire in this one. For Rutledge, playing time at the major league level. He's had a good deal of it. 294th major league game. 2-2 delivery, and that'll be taken outside for a ball. He's made 13 starts with the Red Sox. Second base, third base. Acquired from the Angels for Shane Victorino. on July 27. 3-2 pitch to him and a ground ball down to third that'll go foul. So he'll hold the count, Gausman, at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, when you hit Kevin Gausman, you hit off that fastball against the Yankees in his last start. He only gave up 1 run. That was a home run to Alex Rodriguez. And again, the splitter was very, very good in New York.
3-2 delivery and another chopper hit on top of that one. And the count will stay at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Even with that great splitter, he has been a fly ball pitcher this season. Here at home, much better ERA than on the road with that 5.81 and a 1.5 record. 3-2 delivery on the way. Rutledge again fouls it back. So Rutledge battling away. What will be at least a 9-pitch at bat for him.
Yeah, he's a middle of the field hitter. You know, talk to everybody. I mean, he can make contact. More double power than home run power. So Kevin's got to throw him a strike. There's the splitter, and he takes it.
Good eye on that one outside. So the walk comes with 1 away.
So take a look at the Oriole defense. Pierce, Jones, and Alvarez. Machado, Hardy, Scope, and Davis. And then Caleb Joseph doing the catching. It's Machado and Hardy Gold Glovers, as is Adam Jones with 4 of them.
That will bring up one of the most improved players of the year. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. He'll come in with a 4-game hit streak. He is second in average in the American League. And will take the pitch down low for a ball. He's had the most singles of anybody in the league. He's 4th in infield hits. Been great with runners in scoring position, the 4th best average in that regard. He's up there among the leaders in multi-hit games. In fact, he's had more 4-hit games than anyone else in the American League. Bogaerts has really found his place. And the pitch on the outside corner catches 1-1.
Yeah, and he's a tough out because I mean he's got 48 hits to left, 63 back up the middle, and then one of his strengths, and I think this is the reason the average is as high as it is he can hit the ball into right field as well as anybody on this team. So he can go the other way on good pitches.
1-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be taken down low, trying to get him to chase, and they won't do it.
And when you get a young hitter that can hit quality pitches, you know, a lot of guys can hit mistakes, but when you start hitting the good ones, and then again, if Torey Lovullo taking over for John Farrow as their manager, I mean, you know, you have somebody that can handle the bat, so you can start runners. I mean, there's so many more options when somebody can make contact and use the whole field.
2-1 delivery to him, swing and a miss on a real good pitch. Gausman's got some good sink going down and away from these right-handed batters.
Yeah, it looked like it was a splitter, and I mean the bottom drops out. But that's the pitch he threw to Rutledge. You can see him split the fingers. Great movement.
Left-handers hitting .238. It's the right-handers who've done the damage off Kevin at .280, and 10 of his 15 home runs off him hit by right-handers. 2-2 delivery, great jam shot. Manny Machado's got it. Jonathan Scope, quick relay, not in time. It would pull Chris Davis off, but would have been safe anyway. Bogaerts with that outstanding speed.
Yeah, it seems so. I mean, so routine. If okay, the guy has good speed. Well, that's a double play ball. You can't run. You're out of the inning. Eduardo Rodriguez is taking his warm up.
And the crowd trying to decide how to react to David Ortiz. 500th career home run, and that was a no-doubter. As he joins the select group, 27, who have reached that career mark in homers.
Yeah, 27, and then, of course, he hit him back-to-back at bats against Matt Moore on Saturday night. And neither of them were they both were no doubt about it.
Shift is on against him with a runner on at first base, Bogaerts, and 1 down. So David Ortiz ticking off the numbers necessary for a visit to Cooperstown. Now has 1,628 RBIs. That's 31st in the league, tied with Harold Baines. And he will foul that one back. And we take a look at our Major League notebook on the Ortiz and 500, one of 4 with 500 homers and 3 World Series titles with Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, and Jackson. He's one of 3 active players with 500 home runs. Rodriguez and Pujols are the others. And he's the second player to hit .499 and 500 in the same game. Only Albert Pujols had him in the same ball game. 1-1 pitch to him. Gausman stays away. Ortiz is 4 for 8 with 2 home runs off the Orioles starter.
Yeah, and you got to be a little concerned when you're throwing 96 and you run one underneath his hands and he has a home run swing. You better make some good pitches. Right, so he is seeing the ball well, swinging the bat well, makes you throw strikes.
Just missed away again.
And again, you can see the red is the power zone, and it pretty much covers almost all of the plate. I mean, you got to go way up and in and way away. And then again, you put them up in Fenway, even here at Camden Yards, short porch and left. Power to all fields.
3-1 delivery on the way. Runner off first, and the pitch is outside, so worked around him. 2 walks in the inning by Kevin Gausman. Will put runners on at first and second base with 2 down. That'll bring up Travis Shaw. Shaw getting the start at first base in the ball game. 5th time he has been up this season with the Red Sox. 45 games. He's played first, third, and left for them this year, and has put up some good numbers for the Red Sox in the games he's appeared in. He gets an RBI opportunity right here.
Yeah, and he's got power to the opposite field. Hit a home run down in Tampa. I mean, the left center field on Saturday night.
There goes the bat. Yikes. 2 rows behind the Oriole dugout on that one. The ball went in the catcher's mitt for a strike.
Yeah, good splitter. Real good splitter.
Talking about the trouble he has early in ball games, those 11 are the most that he has surrendered in any one inning this season. 0-1 count. Wayne Kirby's moving the outfield around based on that swing, playing him to pull even more. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the way, and that'll be inside on a breaking ball to Shaw. Red Sox come in 5th in the league as a team with runners in scoring position. They're 274. Bravo for John Farrell, of course, who is out battling cancer, and we understand treatments. 3rd one today. He has been coming to the ballpark. John has in Boston in his office when the Red Sox are playing at home. And we send our best wishes to him. Taken for the swinging strike, 1-2.
Yeah, I think if you're going to try to pitch to Shaw, and this is the count to do it, you want to crowd him. And the thing about Kevin Gausman, and he's going to get a lot better at this because his work ethic is, I mean, about as good as anybody on this staff, is that he's got to get a little more comfortable in the lefties, more comfortable to his arm side. See if he can get it in here right now.
1-2.
See, so you throw that same pitch, but throw it for a strike. Travis Shaw's probably going to get his glove, but he misses. So now probably a splitter out over the plate, and still got a strike to work with.
Shaw 279 in these situations. Good number. Bogart's good speed off second. Ortiz at first. Down the other way, foul. Drove that one right into the side of the net, trying to get around on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Evans keeps upping it by a mile an hour per pitch. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Adam Jones looking in at center, saying, "Where do you want me now?" And move him a few steps back over to left. 2-2 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss. He got him. So Gausman gets the strikeout. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 are left on base. When we come back, our due-ups at the top: Reimold, Machado, Davis. Lineup for the Orioles brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Raimel, Machado, Davis, Jones, Pearson, Scope, Joseph, Hardy, and Alvarez. 6-game hit streak for the Orioles second baseman coming in.
And the 22-year-old left-hander out of Venezuela, so a lot of fastballs, and you can get up to 95, 96. Very Gosman-like numbers. Hard slider, good changeup. Yeah, the ability to pitch to both sides of the plate for somebody at 22. So again, that leads all American League rookie pitchers, those 9 wins. You can see, what do we call them? Reverse splits. Lefties hitting at 305, and the righties much lower.
238. Yeah. Pitch on the way to Raimel, taken for a strike. Nolan comes in with a 4-game hit streak. He is hitting .300 against the Red Sox on the year, including a home run. 2-ball, 1-strike delivery. Quick worker. Rodriguez gets it in there for a strike. We are looking behind the plate at Bill Miller. Of all umpires, none favor a pitcher more historically than Bill Miller. That'll be hit the other way and a base hit. They'd move Rutledge over towards second base. He got jammed on it, but pushes it into right field. And again, Raimel is on.
So there's your defense for the Red Sox. Castillo, Betts, and Dougie Bradley Jr. They could go get him in the outfield. Sandoval, free agent from the Giants. Bogarts, Rutledge, Shaw, and then Swihart doing the catching. Blake Swihart, young switch hitting catcher, having a nice year for him in his rookie year.
And that'll bring up Manny Machado. Orioles get the leadoff hit. Rodriguez, like Gosman, 2 young pitchers, both good at getting leadoff batters out. 72% for Rodriguez. Pitch will be up high for a ball. The Orioles offense coming off that Kansas City series where they were just amazing. 28 runs, 35 hits, hit .327 in the 3-game set. Went .306 with runners in scoring position. Good scoop made by Swihart. And nobody hopes that continues more than Kevin Gosman.
Well, exactly. And for Rodriguez, they score a lot of runs for him. Close to 6, 5.95. And let's bring out the pity card for 2.37 for Kevin Gosman. That's a big difference.
Yeah. 2-0 count.
In fact, a huge difference.
And that'll be way up high. Rodriguez not able to find the strike zone.
Well, as talented he is and as young as he is, he's still not immune from what. There's Carl Willis, who came over as the pitching coach in the season, but he's not immune to. You can always struggle because it's just different once you get out on the mound.
He has started against the Orioles a couple of times. 0-1 record, ERA 5.5. One of the starts here at Camden Yards, he pitched 6 scoreless innings, allowed only 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, indeed, in the ball game. 3-1, Machado takes it, and it's outside. So the Orioles a single and a walk, and they've got 2 on here in the first inning for Chris Davis. And Chris taking on a left-hander.
Yeah, so there, look at the Orioles. I mean, they're 11th. Chris Davis, whole other story. 42 on the year, 10 of them against lefties. Higher average, and of course Adam Jones with 17 of his home runs here. In fact, Chris Davis has 25 of his 42 home runs here at Camden Yards.
Orioles are a game above 500 against left-handed starters. They are 19-18, 8th best win percentage in the American League. And Davis goes after one, looking for the long ball. Davis has had 3 home runs and 10 RBIs against the Red Sox this season. Big time numbers against Boston. And right now, the 42 are the most in the majors as he stays ahead of the bunch. 0-1 delivery on the way. That'll be taken for a strike. Backed off to 87 on that one.
It might have been a changeup. It stayed up, but it fooled him.
Chris, 340 average against Boston this season. Orioles trying to get on the board first. Shift on in the infield at double play depth. Goes in the air to center field. That'll send Betts back. Runner tag up at second. Raimel. Throw comes to second, forcing Manny back to first base. Davis retired. Raimel moves up, one away.
Yeah, at least it's an out, and he hit it pretty well, but at least you get a runner at third with Adam Jones coming up, who's been At least over the last 2 games, red hot. A couple of 3-run home runs.
So now first and third for the Orioles. Chris Davis is batting in that third spot for just the 9th time this season. Generally, he is in the 4-hole, obviously. This is the 25th time that Adam Jones has batted cleanup in the lineup. Adams hitting .325 against Boston. 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. First and third, 1 out. Orioles have outscored the Red Sox in the games played this year, 13 of them, 70-54. Orioles ERA is about 2 runs a game better than the Red Sox ERA. Step off toss. Orioles hit home runs, they win. And that's exactly what they've been doing of late.
What, 28 runs over the weekend, 21 via the home run ball?
Yep. Pitch on the way to Jones, ground ball. No chance for 2 unless he tagged him. He didn't and doesn't get the runner at first. Rutledge was trying to tag. Machado going by and missed him. Everybody's safe. Reimold scores and it's 1-0.
Boy, you got exactly what you want. You hit a little tapper that's most likely not going to be a double play ball. And again, you know, Pedroia, Gold Glover. So he tries to make the tag, and then doing it in the transfer, ball comes out. So the best of all worlds, not for the Red Sox, but for the Orioles.
And there will be an error charged on that to the second baseman, Rutledge. See if they give him an RBI. Can't assume a double play. Oh, there.
Yeah, that's got to be an RBI.
Should be an RBI in that. So Adam Jones picks up the run batted in, first and second, still only 1 away. And that will bring Steve Pearce to the plate. Steve has had a 1 for 3 in the only times he has faced Rodriguez. And he's got a couple out there with Manny Machado reaching second base after drawing that walk and getting by Rutledge. And a swing and a miss on a heater up and in at 94.
Yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez, he gets traded for Andrew Miller. He had struggled at Double-A for the Orioles. And the minute he went up to Portland, their Double-A affiliate, talking about the Red Sox, he became a machine. An ERA of under 1 run a game and 6 starts.
0-2. Pearce will take the pitch inside.
Gary has such a simple windup. He's very much like Kevin Gausman in that sense. I mean, there's not a lot of must. Now, everybody was talking about earlier in the year, he was tipping some of his pitches, flaring the glove, maybe dropping his head a little bit more on breaking balls.
1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Pearce will take it inside. Now, the Orioles getting a run off him. That's not been easy. He has given up only 1 earned run or less in 10 of the 18 starts that he has made this season. So he's been very tough to get runs off. Comes off a win against Philadelphia, a run on 8 hits and 7. 2 ball, 2 strike delivery on the way. Pearce tags it foul.
Well, they got on that fastball. Yeah, you look at his numbers, and this is start number 19. Only 4 really bad starts, but they were 9, 6, 7, and 8. Jays, Orioles, Angels, and even the Miami Marlins. So when he's been bad, it's only been 4 times.
Red Sox come in a game behind the Orioles in the standings. 2 ball, 2 strike count. And throttled back to 88 miles an hour and gets the strikeout.
Yeah, on the fastball, couldn't quite get to the changeup. So again, it is hard. It is 88. And it just has enough movement, good enough location to get Steve Pearce to swing right over.
And speaking of home runs, here's somebody who's hitting them. Jonathan Scope comes in now with 14 home runs on the season, 2 last night. He has just been tagging it, barreling up, home run or otherwise. That one will be fouled away. Take a look at our Jeep Inside the Numbers talking about the power.
Oh, yeah. And you could see last year, and then, of course, more mature guy did have the knee problem, actually hurt the knee up in Boston. So again, you're looking at RBI percentage up, home run per bat. And again, what I liked last night, he hits home runs the first 2 times and then hits a single to right field, the opposite field. Didn't overswing the 3rd time up.
0-1 count to him. He'll foul it away. Last night, 2 dingers, and they look like this.
Yeah, little sliders in the middle of the plate off Johnny Cueto, and one to left, one to center. That's what he's able to do. So, tremendously strong young man.
Orioles getting a chance here. 1 run in, 1st and 2nd, 2 down. Breaking ball is going to miss outside. Manny Machado is almost walking his way to 3rd base. Rodriguez turned around on him, but you see how far the second baseman Rutledge is, and Manny Machado is further away from second than the second baseman is. Rutledge has made no move, and Rodriguez has made no step off to get him back. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way. Came in on the fist that time, fouls it off.
Well, I think when you're a pitcher, or even when you're playing, you kind of look at your hitters, the opponent hitters, and you go, okay, from year to year, what do they do better this year than last? And that pitch right there is something that Jonathan Scope probably would have swung right over last year. So the Red Sox would have been out of the inning, but he's able to foul off a good slider down and in.
1 ball, 2 strike count still. Up high. Fake and look at second. One thing he'll try and do better next year, Scope, is hit lefties. He's hit only .224 against left-handers this season. .321 off the right-handers. Having watched all year, my guess is it's that left-hander changeup pitch that goes down and away.
Yeah, the movement factor of it.
2-2 delivery, a chopper into the glove. Rodriguez a nice snag, makes the overhand toss to first base and records the out. So the Orioles will pick up a run on 1 hit, an error. 2 are left on base. An early Orioles 1-0 lead. Much is lacking. Kevin Gausman at the top of the Orioles' lowest run support average as a starter since 1969, 2.39. And Bautista, McNally, Pat Dobson, Brian Mattis. Bill Dillman, 67, 162 run support, lowest since 54.
Well, he took it so seriously, he left the country and went to Montreal.
Yes.
Now, Cuellar and McNally, we all won 20 games, and Dave McNally pitched better the next year, run support, got shut out 6 times. Pat Dobson, 120, pitched better the next year. I think Mac lost 18 and Dobson lost 17. So even though they pitched better, team didn't play as well.
No run support.
So that's what run support can do.
Yep. Here's Pablo Sandoval leading it off. Sandoval takes his first strike. Bill Dillman, by the way, ended up 7 wins, 12 losses in 50 games in the major leagues, playing with the Orioles and the Expos. 0-1 pitch on the way, and that'll be taken down low. Pablo Sandoval A couple of hits, 2 at-bats against Tillman. A disappointing season for Sandoval, as it is for the Red Sox. He's hitting 2 for 41 right-handed. That's right, folks. 2 for 41. 266 the other way.
Yeah, career 293 hitter. And they would have taken that. I mean, they just said, hit 285, play third. Played on a Giant team that won 3 of the last 5 World Series. Good splitter right here in your favorite count. What you think might be a fastball count, but wasn't.
2-2 ground ball second. Scope. And Sandoval is retired. Show your orange, save some green. Tomorrow night, the O's take on the Red Sox. Game 2, Ollie's Bargain Night, presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. All upper reserve seats, only $10, and you can get yours at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. 1 down, nobody on. Rizzi Castillo. Castillo's 300 against the Orioles this year with a home run and 8 RBIs. And it looks as though he has gotten his game turned around to be the kind of outfielder they had hoped to see at the plate.
Oh, yeah. Big game winner yesterday afternoon. It seemed like almost nighttime because they did go 13.
Castillo's hitting 289 overall. He's had to do it with some time in the minors. This is his 65th game at the major league level, and they like the way he is playing left field.
Yeah, they say he plays the Green Monster exceptionally well. But again, when you come out of Cuba, of course, obviously a different culture. He didn't play for about a year and a half, had injuries. So you're right, had to go down and retool his swing. And to his credit, Dario Alvarez out of Cuba. Now the difference, Alvarez did not get $72.5 million this time. I think
he's aware of that too.
Yes. Able to hold the bat up. So they like Castillo's skill set. Obviously, that's why they gave him the money.
2 ball, 2 strike delivery on the way. Ground ball goes to short. Hardy. Couple of ground ball outs here in the second inning. 3 teams trying not to finish last right now. The Orioles, the Red Sox, and Tampa Bay. They are all separated by just 1 game. As the Orioles have won 69, Tampa Bay's won 69. They have the exact same record. The Red Sox have won 68. Red Sox, of all the teams in the East, the hottest right now. Over the last 10, they have won 7 of their last 10 ball games. Hanley Ramirez, another one of the acquisitions, not playing. And the Red Sox, I don't think it's any secret. Is it possible to get rid of either Ramirez or Sandoval and save some money?
Well, big investment, and I don't think the Red Sox would mind spending it if they were playing it.
Yeah.
Or playing up to their capabilities. I think it's a little bit unfair to Hanley Ramirez to, not to give him the, $88 million, because players make a lot of money. He can hit. But to put him in left field and expect for him to learn left. Now, of course, you can look at it, hey, how hard did he work? Did he really want to play left? But that's what they signed him for, and he did not. Early on, I think he hit 10 home runs in the month of April with 22 RBIs. Looked pretty good then. And then the numbers dropped precipitously.
1-2 delivery on the way. Osmond gets that one in. Ball driven to left field. Pierce back, and he's got it, and that'll do it. So a 1-2-3 inning. Good job by Gosman. Caleb Joseph leads it off when we come back. did 500 more for every Orioles home run hit in our game. Play baseball buck scratch off today. Win up to $50,000 instantly. And learn more at mdlottery.com/baseball. Folks working on the, and I mean working.
Your type of kid right there.
That is, dig in there. Come on, those plastic spoons, worthless when you got that kind of a treat in front of you.
It's like a plastic fork and a chicken breast.
Exactly.
Good luck with that one.
Good luck.
Don't be sitting next to that person.
Take the blades out of the breast when the handle breaks. Here is Caleb Joseph against the left-hander. Rodriguez delivers to him, and the pitch will be taken for a strike. Rodriguez, 55% of the outs recorded in the air. Both these pitchers work better out of the windup than the stretch, as would be expected, since both have been starters in their careers. 0-1 pitch to Joseph. He'll go the other way with it. It'll end up in the seats on the inside-out swing.
Yeah, he's so smooth and easy. Talking about Eduardo Rodriguez. Not that Caleb Joseph is not smooth and easy either, but you know, again, the ball jumps on you.
He's as good as Buck Showalter thought. 0-2 delivery on the way. Ball in the air, left center field. Pretty good ride going back to the warning track. Hand right off the middle of the wall. Caleb heads to second. There's nobody there. Fortunately, it gets backed up, or he would have ended up on third base. Red Sox did not cover second, and a solid double for Joseph.
Yeah, Mookie Betts, I don't know if he didn't see a cutoff man, but he throws it into the ground. I'm not suggesting, again, you never want to make that third out or that first or third out at third base. Watch this throw. It just comes straight down, and of course, and I don't know, somebody's going to come get it. There's Xander Bogaerts. So he gets to it very quickly. I mean, that's what you look at if you're a base runner, because you do not, with nobody out, want to get thrown out. And you know, Caleb can run pretty well for a catcher.
So the double for Joseph, and here's Hardy with the RBI chance. The Orioles went 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position in the first inning, and they get another chance here with that leadoff double and a leadoff single. Reimold scored. 1-0 count. Pitch on the way to Hardy, and that will be in there for a strike. Hardy hitting .214 off the lefties and .215 off right-handers. JJ tries to get the bat going again after coming off the DL. Outfield swung around, way around to right field. 1-1 pitch, and that's going to miss inside. He'll get ahead on the count here, 2-1.
Well, let's see the approach that JJ takes. Will he shoot one, or at least try to hit it to the right side, get Caleb to third? Already got a 1-0 lead. Let's add to it if you can.
2-1 delivery. They pitch away.
You know, there's been so many stories written about David Ortiz with the 500 home runs, but he said when he was with the Twins and then he was released, signed with the Red Sox, he said if you got the guy over, they'd high five you and whatever, and he got to the Red Sox, they go, no, that's not the way we play over here. We drive in the runners.
That's true. That is the difference. And he walked him. So Rodriguez still struggling with that strike zone. The Orioles, as they did in the first inning, get the first 2 on. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam. Just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. So Alvarez will get the opportunity, his 8th at bat that he's had in September. He's gone 1 for 8 with a homer. And this is going to be the first chance he's had with the Orioles with a runner in scoring position. First and second, nobody out. And couple of youngsters against each other.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll bunt against the American League. DH, probably can't imagine he bunted a whole lot in the minor league.
That'll go to right field, and Bradley over to get it, and the Joseph will have to go back to the bag. Played it halfway. Throw in right behind him. So Alvarez retired in the opposite field. Fly ball. Jackie Bradley Jr. was playing over towards the line, so he was able to get there.
And it really doesn't matter with his kind of speed. He's a center fielder playing right field. Which, and you know, they're talking, Torey Lovullo was talking about, well, we're going to, after this series, we're going to actually move guys around, see what their best field is. But I would think in Fenway Park, you might want to have your best outfielder in right, all that territory.
Yeah. Well, that may have been partially answered by Castillo's recent play in left.
Yeah.
They don't like him in center. They really like him in left, and you've got great speed with Bradley. As you said, that makes for a pretty potent outfield.
Yeah, look how Dwight Evans, won 8 or 9 Gold Gloves in right field for the Red Sox along the way. I mean, that ball looked like off the bat it might be a double. I mean, that was pretty routine the way Torey Lovullo said in this 3-game series, and this is how good this outfield has been. And the Orioles certainly know about good defense. But he said you will see one of these guys make one of those spectacular plays. That's just what they've been doing for the Sox.
0-2 delivery on the way. Got him. Inside corner strike. That's a big strikeout. Second recorded by Rodriguez.
Yeah, he didn't waste a lot of time, did he? Whitehart moves in, ball right on the corner, or as you said with Bill Miller. Again, generous strike. It's probably a ball off the plate, but right to where the glove is. And again, if you're a pitcher, that's what you want. And if you're a hitter, you might think it's unfair, but you do have an umpire that's going to do that. At least that's what his scouting report is.
Now we're going to get runners moving up. There's been a balk called here, I believe, by the first base umpire, Doug Eddings. Bogarts is coming over to talk to the pitcher, Rodriguez. Did not see it.
Well, he probably wants to know what happened. Why did you call it?
So the Orioles are going to get a couple of runners in scoring position off the balk.
Now, see, he calls it, but usually though, in Carl Willis, he's going to come out and explain to him. Certainly don't want to do it again. Normally, if you start your windup, and of course everybody's saying, okay, really 2 outs, it does matter, but it doesn't really matter if you get the hitter out.
That's what they want to make sure he's focused on, and not on the balk. I'm assuming he took to the rubber, made a move, and stopped.
Okay, see, you go to your hands, but that looks like a stretch position, and then
I don't even know why he was on the rubber right there, really.
Well,
Manny Machado wasn't in the box.
No, and he stepped out.
Yeah. Well, in any event, he can go to the full windup, which is pretty compact. Machado, runners on at first and second base. Manny hitting .302 in these situations, a big chance early in the ball game for the Orioles to pick up a couple of runs. Joseph goes to third, Hardy to second.
Yeah, and that's important. Good change up there, and Manny just takes it. And only Caleb Joseph, not as many at bats with a higher average of runners in scoring position.
2-0 count, 1 to hit.
Wow.
Nope.
Another changeup.
That's his pitch of choice when he gets behind early in the game.
Well, you're looking fastball, and it just is enough off speed. And again, he's got late life on it. And there's a nice little 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
So Manny, after getting ahead on the count, now a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Manny 275 off the Red Sox this year, a homer. He's had 5 RBIs against Boston in the 13 games played. Orioles up 9-4 in the series. And a fastball, 95, came right back and got him. And if you're the Red Sox, you got to like that. He regrouped after that balk. Didn't bother him. 2 left on. To Siesta Beach, named winner of the 2015 TripAdvisor Traveler's Choice Awards for beaches. Plan now, www.visitsarasota.org. Trying to figure out what happened on the Bach, obviously, because they want Rodriguez to know, and they want to make sure they know. So Lovallo will check in, but Rodriguez just came right back and got a strikeout on Machado.
Yeah, pretty impressive, too. I tell you, you know what? It's kind of interesting. You know Manny can really play. But the 2-0 changeup changed the whole complexion. And then you don't know what's coming, and they just blew him away at 95. And it wasn't in the middle of the plate. That's pitching.
So Gosman back to work. Jackie Bradley Jr. up. And he will take the pitch down low for a ball. He's had a couple of hits and just 4 at-bats in the only time he has faced the Orioles this season. He was recalled from Pawtucket on July 29. Pitch will be taken for a strike. He, another of the young Red Sox players who had to go down, learn how to do it again differently, and then come back up. They were counting on him to be a regular in the lineup, and it didn't work. 1-1 the other way, and that is a foul ball. And a break for the Orioles on that one.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, you're right about that. You know, great 2 years ago, great spring, then struggled. They gave him an opportunity to play, and then when he was going to play this year, didn't have a good spring. But 22 of his last 31 hits, and I'm talking 4 for 4 games, 5 for 6 games. Chili Davis, his hitting instructor, looking on, are extra base hits. It's a ton of extra base hits.
Good pitch. Gosman came back in on him and gets a strikeout. He's got 2 in the game.
A perfect pitch right here. We talked about better to the arm side. Gets this one inside third of the plate. Starts off the plate, comes back. And again, nicely presented. And what I like about Caleb Joseph, he does get the glove up. You see the target, easier to hit.
Gosman will face the top of the order. Here is Betts, grounded out his first time up. Only hitting $156 against the Orioles this year. That 18-game streak on the line coming into this ball game, upping the average during the streak. That 289 mark you see right there. 1-0 delivery on the way to him, and a swing and a miss. Went right through it.
Yeah, the other thing about Mookie Betts is he's a very athletic kid. Came up as a second baseman. Is that, boy, when you look at the power numbers, RBI 71, 15 home runs, 19 out of 24, so he can steal bases. And he's young, only 22.
Well, the Red Sox trying to put it together. You take a look at this team and the players they have. Every reason to believe they got a chance to get things done in the offseason, turn it around. In the air to right. Alvarez. Over near the line, will put it away. 2 down. The O's began the final week of the regular season with a 4-game series against the Blue Jays starting Monday the 28th. And on Wednesday, September 30, all fans get the Miguel Gonzalez designed El Mariachi t-shirt. Don't miss the year's final t-shirt giveaway, and you can enjoy it on a summer night. That's Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD for the mariachi shirt. I love mariachi bands. I hope they're on the shirt.
Usually love what goes with them. The food and drink.
The food and drink, yes.
Well, they're hoping that Miguel's going to get back to pitching.
Threw off flat ground today, felt good. And the pitch is strike on the outside corner. But Showalter said he does not want Gonzalez to be working out of the bullpen. That when he's ready to pitch, they want him to start. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Ground ball fouled off outside of third. Rutledge drew a walk his first time up.
Yeah, you get to 3 and 2 on a guy, and you know you want to throw him strikes. And again, he kept fouling off pitches, and then eventually try to strike him out with a splitter.
1-2 over the top to short. Hardy's got it, and we'll record the out. Well, Gosman getting some ground ball outs here. That's 7 in a row retired by the Orioles starter. 15 Roberto Clemente Award that is presented by Chevrolet for services performed off the field in the community. He's earned that nomination with his works for charities around Baltimore, and Buck Showalter talked about it.
Through thick and thin, whether a good outing or bad outing, Brian's been very consistently there for anything the club needs, but he's initiated a lot of stuff on his own. And people that I'm sure a lot of people, not surprised, but that don't know Brian don't realize all the stuff he does like that. And it's after a night game and crack of dawn the next morning, he's there, and when he commits to something, he's very consistent in showing up and engaging with the people and realizing the effect that what he was allowed to do for a living can have on other people. I'm proud of him.
Congratulations to him, and you can help. Fans will participate in naming the winner ultimately of the Roberto Clemente Award. Each team has a nominee. You can go to ChevyBaseball.com and cast a ballot for Brian Mattis. Good for Brian.
Yeah, Roberto Clemente, one of the great players, but also humanitarian, dying in that plane crash on after the earthquake, I guess, in Nicaragua.
Yep, trying to bring supplies in for the victims.
Winter of '72, going into just about, I think, right before, somewhere around Christmas. What a player he was.
Chris Davis up 1-2 delivery taken up high. Chris flied out to center field. His first time up. Orioles have the 1-0 lead, bottom of the third inning. A couple of hits on the board for the O's. Reimold, Joseph. RBI picked up on a ground ball. Jones hit. And Davis with the 2-ball, 2-strike count. Full shift on against him. Rodriguez. 2-2 delivery on the way, and one to drive, and he fouls it right straight back.
Well, you talked to Scott Coolbaugh, who had, as the Oriole hitting instructor, who had Chris actually when he was in the Texas organization, and Chris has worked very hard to. He still has the uppercut swing, but the front shoulder so important. And again, it stays in against the lefties. It looks like maybe sometimes, and we've seen him hit home runs with one hand. I mean, literally, just kind of get the bat going. But against lefties, he just stays closed. Maybe that's why the average is there is Scott a little bit better. And of course, his ability against lefties hit it out anywhere.
Davis jammed. That one off the fist. Will be back and out of play. And he will hold the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. One of the largest increases in average against left-handers. Chris Davis able to do that this season. Has really made a difference, obviously, his overall batting average. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that will be too far inside to him. Chris among the leaders, of course, first in home runs, second in RBIs. He's tied for second in extra base hits, fourth in slugging, fifth in walks. 3-2 delivery, and that one just enough to foul it back.
How about a 22-year-old kid throws him a changeup?
He loves that pitch.
Well, he trusts all his pitches, and probably fastball, changeup, slider in that order. There it is. This one's a little slower at 84. Probably just get me over. Don't walk him.
Again, the pitch to him, and wins the battle.
And there's a harder changeup. But take a look at your Nissan pitch track. So again, just wearing out that inside corner with fastballs, and this changeup just turns over and up. Perfect pitch. Let's see, trying to stay in and able to do it.
He's had 4 strikeouts, 3 have come in a row. Bring up Adam Jones. Adam picked up the RBI on a ground ball that he reached on. Jones now with the 77 runs batted in for the Orioles. And the pitch for a ball up high. Jones to be followed by Pierce. Rodriguez rocks and fires in a hurry. He does not take much time out there on the mound. He's ready to go.
I think that's one of the reasons for the balk. He was in a hurry, and Manny made him step off or kind of get out of sync. And
that's a broken bat ground ball that goes to first. Travis Shaw will take it to the bag for the out. Get in on all the baseball action with Masson. Text the word Orioles to 29292 for team alerts. Chances to win exclusive prizes all season long, including meet and greets with your favorite players. That's Orioles 29292 for those alerts you can't miss. Two away bases are empty, and Steve Pearce up. Pearce, a strikeout victim, his first time to the plate. Left-hander's 1-0 delivery, and that's going to miss up high. Orioles still against Eastern Division opponents above 500. They're 30-29 against the East this season. Off-speed pitch again. Red Sox have not fared so well. They're 25-34. So the Orioles have gotten their wins within the division, but that 29-45 road record just keeps jumping up at them. 2-1 pitch on the way, and that'll be up high.
Yeah, you would think, and when you look at the 2016 Oriole team, you might have to take that in consideration, how they play on the road. Why is it?
3-1 is outside.
You know, you hit fly balls here that are home runs that are just outs. Warning track for this home. And there you go. There's our final 20 schedule. 3 interleague.
Orioles have struggled with those teams, as you see, that are above 500. Not been able to keep the record you need there. Under 500, 20 above the 500 mark. But those teams that have played well, the Orioles have not been able to beat. Pitch will be taken down low for a ball. Jonathan Scope, ground out, his first time up.
Now the Orioles go 3-15 because the starting pitching was horrid, and 3 runs or less in those 15 losses, all at the same time. It's just 18 collective 18 game schedule where starting pitching wasn't that good. The games they won, they scored 5 to 8 runs a game, and then the other 15 just for whatever the reasons, and a lot of them on the road just couldn't score enough.
Big difference. It's a kind of a wacky look when you go back at the season of the Orioles, trying to figure out what's got to be done, because their home ERA is 11th, their road ERA is 5th. At home they're 5th in runs, on the road they're 12th. I mean, it's just, they are first in home runs at home, 6th on the road. I mean, that's not bad. But they did not hit well on the road this year, as Jim said. Their OPS, 3rd best at home, 12th on the road. So even though we talk about starting pitching not having done its job, if the home road record is looked at, it's the offense that hasn't done the job.
Well, that was probably until about a month ago. It was pretty much the offense, and then it was a collection of both.
Yep.
And that's when you get those long couple of 6-game losing streaks.
1 ball, 2 strike delivery to Scope, and that one down and away. So he gets the strikeout, couple in the inning, 5 in the ball game. Orioles leave 1 on base. They lead it 1-0. another. First time in 44 seasons both these Texas teams have played in big September games against each other. First place Astros in Arlington, 4-game set. Minnesota Twins are hanging. 7 games remaining against teams with 500 or better records. Their last postseason was 2010. They got a shot at the wild card. And the Cubs, what a schedule they've got upcoming this week. 4 at Pittsburgh and then 3 against St. Louis, as they are battling to try not only for a wild card but now trying to overtake the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think the Texas, they play Houston and the Angels this week. But how about the Astros? One of the big stories in baseball to come as far as they did.
Big matchup there. Pitch will be taken inside for a ball. Bogarts, fielder's choice, first time up. Ortiz and then Shaw will be due up. Xander Bogaerts, pitch to him will be in the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, when Kevin Gausman gets in that groove, and it looks like he's got a pretty good groove down and away to righties, that's when the numbers will even get better. As you mentioned, 280 by the righties.
That one to left field, and that will fall in for a base hit. Run over there is Pierce in a hurry to hold him. So Bogaerts is on with a leadoff single, and the Red Sox have their first hit. Register now for the Longevity Foundation's Breathe Deep Baltimore 5K walk, raising funds for lung cancer awareness and research in memory of the late Public Relations Director for the O's, Monica Pence Barlow. It'll be Saturday, October 3 here at the ballpark. You can contribute and get more information, part of your community support to fight lung cancer. Just go to Orioles.com/longevity. So Ortiz a walk.
Yeah, now you got to pitch to him. And that's what the breaking ball had just stayed up a little bit to Bogaerts.
He'll take that pitch away. David Ortiz, one of the 2 walks surrendered in the first inning by Kevin Gausman. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs against the Orioles. Not a big average against the O's this year, just 205. 1-0 pitch on the way and going for the long one that time.
Yeah, it is a totally different swing than he had. He struggled early against the Orioles. Looked like he wasn't seeing the ball. You can see the target in, but the ball runs away at 96. Great late movement in the strike zone. Boy, you'd love to get him hit one on the ground at one of your infielders. Got a quick double play.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery to him, and another vicious cut. When he swings like that, the bat looks like a toothpick. 1-2.
Well, he started with the Mariners and then got traded to the Twins, hit 20 home runs, and didn't want to pay the arbitration number, and that's how he got to the Red Sox in 2003 for a little over $1 million. Look at those numbers against Gausman. And then he wasn't even playing. Jeremy Giambi played ahead of him all the way back in 2003.
1-2 count, runner off first base, nobody out. Ortiz is gone. 3 strikeouts. Gausman went up the ladder on him and got him.
Perfectly pitched. Now you're hoping he doesn't catch up, and he doesn't. And again, when Kevin's on his game, he can do this. 4-seamer, pull it down, get that little uptick in the ball. Great life. That's why he was the Orioles' #1 draft choice, because of that. The ability to really throw the baseball with a good windup.
1 away. Bogaerts remains on at first base. The shift remains on against Travis Shaw. Shaw, strikeout victim. His first time to the plate. Orioles play the outfield fairly deep with the power Travis Shaw has. Even Adam Jones has backed up in center field.
No, last year AA, AAA hit 21 home runs, so he's a power guy, big guy.
1-0 count on him, short lead at first base, and the pitch is on the outside corner at the knees for a strike.
Well, that was the Bill Miller strike. You could see Travis Shaw actually walk over to the outside corner because it was a little wider, and that gets Kevin back into the count.
1 ball, 1 strike count at double play depth in the shift. And that pitch is going to miss inside. Working to a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Gausman trying to get victory #3 on the year. 2 of them would have come against the Red Sox if he can do that. This is the 14th start. Team has gone 5-8 in the 13 starts he's made. 2-1 delivery. Runner going nowhere. Swing and a miss. Drop off the table away pitch. 2-2. More great movement from Gausman.
Yeah, the splitter. You think you're going to get something 96, 98. Probably 12 miles per hour slower. And again, perfectly located. It's kind of the one you wanted to put in play for a ground ball at your infielder and turn the double play. And then he takes that one.
Block it. And the 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Yeah, the more innings you pitch, the more, if you're talented, and Kevin's certainly one of those guys, the more chances you have of being able to repeat the quality pitches.
Dave Wallace has worked with Kevin all year, along with the rest of the staff.
And we'll see if they run now. This 3-2 count usually means that you may do that.
Bogart's not going, and the pitch will be taken down low. So Gausman surrenders the walk. Unhappy with himself after that pitch. That's the 3rd free pass that he has surrendered. Orioles' upcoming schedules brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the area. You can visit them in store or online at mile1.com. Red Sox, 2 more night games here at Camden Yards. Ubaldo Jimenez, Joe Kelly go tomorrow night. Mike Wright and Henry Owens in Game 3 on Wednesday. 2 on and 1 out. And Sandoval coming up. Sandoval grounded out first time to the plate. Kevin Gausman has not walked 3 in a ball game this year until tonight. Pitch on the way. Sandoval is going to get a base hit into right field. Bogart's had to wait, so he'll stop at 3rd. Good throw in by Alvarez to the cutoff man. Sandoval a single, and the Red Sox load him up with 1 out.
Yeah, the problem with Pablo Sandoval is you just don't know where he's going to hit it. Little change up, splitter that stays up, so he pulls it. But he's got a lot more hits to left than right, but he got a pitch he could pull there and didn't miss it.
So Kevin Gausman will work with the bases loaded, looking for that ground ball, and Castillo. Rusney Castillo grounded out his first time up, will stand in. Well, the Red Sox trailing 1-0, a chance to get a lead here in this inning. Pitch on the way to him. Castillo fouls it off. He's hitting an amazing .393 with runners in scoring position.
Well, how about their young players? Betts is hitting .330. Even Rutledge, not a lot of at bats, .353. Bogart's .353. And then you go down the bottom line. I'm even Swihart .311. So again, Bradley's hitting .349. That's why they're getting 6 runs a game since August.
0-1 loop to Shua, second base, and go close. Diving back in was Travis Shaw and almost didn't make it.
Yeah, not a lot of speed, so he's certainly trying to get that good secondary lead in case he can do it. And then here's the jam shot, and again, bang, bang, and able to get the right hand, I think, on the bag. Saw the fingertips from that angle. And he's looking right at the umpire to hope that he called him safe, and he did.
Good play. Jonathan Scope and Hardy getting there in a hurry. Big second out. So the Red Sox 1 for 3 now with runners in scoring position. Bases remain loading, and here's Swihart. Swihart, he's .311 in these situations.
Yeah, hit it well the first time, almost to the base of the wall, opposite field.
2 down, and the pitch will be inside for a ball. Bogart's a single, Shaw the walk, Sandoval the single. They are the 3 Red Sox base runners. Against Kevin Gausman this year, opponents are .246 with runners in scoring position, a little above the American League average. 1-0 delivery, inside corner strike. This Boston team, since the All-Star break, they've scored the 2nd most runs in the league. Only Toronto's had more in the second half. They've got the second best OPS. Pitching hasn't been very good. 10 out of 15 ERAs, but enough runs to get over it. And that pitch will be inside on a heater. 2-1.
Well, again, you try to read the bat from each plate appearance and put a good swing on the ball away. He's over 300 from this side of the plate. 229 hitter because he is a switch hitter when he turns around and hits right-handed.
2-1 delivery on the way by Gausman, and got him to chase on a pitch away at 87. So both he and Rodriguez not afraid to bring it back.
Well, this is as good as it gets. I mean, this is the splitter he had up in New York. And again, as he gets the innings and he's able to replicate those pitches.
Trying to work himself out of the inning. Bases were loaded with 1 away. Now 2 down. 2-2 pitch on the way. Swire puts it in the air to center. Adam Jones. He's got it. Good job by Gausman. He retires him. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 3 left on. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. It's a beautiful evening here at Camden Yards. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer with you as the Orioles go into the final 20 of the 2015 season. 69-73, the Orioles number. Rodriguez on the mound with 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Gausman 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. Orioles have the 1-0 lead. Each team has left 5 on base. Jones the RBI when he reached in the first inning on a ground ball. And the pitch will be taken for a strike. Well, the Orioles try and get to the left-hander. Caleb Joseph leadoff double. Second inning was stranded. The 0-1 will be taken away.
Yeah, one of the few mistakes that Eduardo Rodriguez has made, just a little slider down and in. That's at power.
That one the other way, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. Jackie Bradley Jr. could not get there in time, and Caleb Joseph has got a 2 for 2.
Well, I told him in front of Scott Coolbaugh today. Of course, Scott was the hitting instructor laughing at me. I said, "You got to start a salary drive right here." So double to left center off the end of the bat, and Bradley couldn't get to it. I said 2-3 hits every game you get to play. Got 20 more games. Well, he wants to add a few more.
Absolutely.
I said, "What is this occasion?" He was just happy. I got 2 RBIs last night. Never hit a ball out of the infield. I said, "We need more than that, Caleb."
Any way they come.
Exactly.
J.J. Hardy drew a walk his first time up. Orioles have their 3rd hit. They've now had 3 of 4 leadoff batters on base in this ball game, something they did a lot of against the Kansas City Royals winning 2 out of 3. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Hardy. Alvarez waiting on deck. Hardy hard to short. Bogarts 1, Rutledge 2.
Yeah, ball hit very firmly. A little slider that stays in the middle of the plate. And again, Bogarts. Remember Brian Butterfield, the infield instructor, third base coach, said he's a big guy playing shortstop. Now he's a shortstop that happens to be a big guy. So much smoother. And again, he stays down. Glove comes up. Can't bring it down. Boy, you always want to stay below the hop, and he does.
So there are 2 away. Nobody on now. Here's Alvarez hitting ninth, playing in right. Flied out to right his first time up. And will take a pitch away for a ball. Toronto 3.5 game lead over the Yankees coming into today's play. Yankees playing at Tampa Bay. Sabathia and Erasmo Ramirez scheduled starters tonight. Yankees 8 out of 10 wins on the road of late. Trying to chase down the Blue Jays, who got a very big win, New York, against the Yankees in order to keep that lead going.
Well, 3 out of 4, but how about the Tanaka game? Shutting them down. I mean, that was a 2-game swing right there.
Yep. That one's going to go to center, and that'll fall in for a base hit. So the Orioles, couple of hits in the inning, but the double play eliminated Joseph, who had the first one. Orioles close out the regular season with Fan Appreciation Weekend against the Yankees. It'll be October 2, Friday, to begin that weekend. Special events: post-game fireworks, Johns Hopkins Medicine on Friday, Orioles knit bomber hats, first 20,000 fans, 15 over Saturday, Steve Pierce Fans Choice bobbleheads, AT&T Sunday. You can get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Reimold up a single and a run scored, and he's been called out on strikes. Short lead at first. In the dirt, runner goes and took off immediately, so we'll get second base easily. Alvarez to second.
Yeah, it starts in spring training, and then when you take batting practice, you take your leads, your secondary leads, and when the ball's in the dirt, Alvarez gets a good read and easily. Reimold now a chance to drive him in.
4th wild pitch of the year by Rodriguez. And the Orioles get another shot with a 1-0 lead, looking for the 2-out RBI. Reimold will take the fastball up and away. Orioles are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, yet lead it 1-0. A lot of chances in the first inning. 2-0 delivery on the way. Reimold watches that one go by in the inside corner.
Yeah, he throws so many quality pitches away. If you're right-handed, you kind of look, especially if you get into a hitter's count, and then he throws one down and in.
2-1 delivery on the way. Reimold will foul that one back. Houston Ranger game just getting underway. An interesting matchup there. So they got Scott Kazmir and Cole Hamels are pitching against one another in the first game of 4, with Houston leading Texas by a game and a half in the division. The last time they faced each other was game 1 and game 5 of the 2008 World Series. Here's the 2-2 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss. Went up high to get it. Rodriguez gets his 6th strikeout. The Orioles no runs, 2 hits, and 1 left on. The Cubs. They won 73 last year. They have already won 82. Then the Rangers and Astros. The greatest decrease, Oakland. They won 88 last year. They've won only 61. And the Orioles have the second largest decrease in Major League Baseball for the season. They won 96 last year. They are at 69 wins right now. And then the Atlanta Braves. So the Cubs, Rangers, and Astros, the big increase in W's from last season. That's why they are headed to the postseason. Here is Jackie Bradley Jr., a strikeout victim, his first time up. Continues to look like the Cubs and Pirates in that wild card National League game, unless either Pirates or Cubs can catch the Cardinals for that division.
Yeah, it appears that the Pirates have a better chance. Only 2 back on the loss column. Of course, the Cubs 6.
1 ball, 1 strikeout. Jackie Bradley Jr. on a big swing over the top was a strikeout victim his first time up.
Yeah, really good curveball there. When Kevin Gausman came out of LSU, he threw both the slider and the curveball, something he plans on doing next season. This year it's kind of morphed into the curveball. Slider not as consistent as he would like.
Bounced a little bit shy of home plate. 2-2.
Well, you want to get on top of it. You want to throw it under the strike zone. You just want to throw it kind of past home plate. And it's easy not to do that.
2 ball, 2 strike count from Kevin. And that one will be up.
See, these are when, so you go from 1 and 2. You think the curveball's the right thing, but you don't even get it close. And then you overthrow one, and this is how you get the pitch count where it is, which is 81.
Yeah.
Just those extra pitches. Now you got to throw him a strike. Red hot hitter.
3-2 delivery on the way to him and walked him.
And then you make the kind of a perfect pitch, except he probably would have swung at it if maybe the count was 1 and 2, 2 and 2. He takes it, and that's your 4th walk.
And it's a leadoff walk here in the 5th inning. So for the second time in the ball game, Boston gets a leadoff man on base. And that will bring Betts to the plate with his 18-game hit streak not extended yet. He has gone 0 for 2. He has grounded out and he has flied out. Infield will look to try and get a double play. Good speed both at first and at the plate. And the throw over to get him back to the bag.
Yeah, Jackie Bradley Jr. doesn't run a lot, but I mean 3 out of 3. But again, you get the hottest hitter, or one of the hottest hitters, because they have so many up to the plate. Get a guy on, it opens up holes. If you ever start the runner, if the count gets to the appropriate count, somebody's got to cover.
Mookie Betts waiting on it. Runner fakes a go. Quick throw. 1 hopper down to first. Joseph trying to catch him off the bag, but he was headed back in a hurry after he gave it a couple of steps towards second base.
And then the other thing in the modern game, when your pitch counts, I mean, you're here, you're going into the 5th inning, it's 883. You throw about 17 pitches an inning, a little bit less than that. You're thinking, well, I have only one more inning, maybe 2 at the most if I have a quick inning. But the guy at first is only the tying run. You don't want to let this game get away from you.
1-0 count. Base stealers 2 for 5 against Gausman on the year. Not a lot of attempts.
And what you don't want to do is you don't want to let him get a running lead, but you also want to focus on the heart of their order, because they get to see you now for the 3rd time, and you're only in the 5th inning.
Bradley 3 for 3 stealing bases. Limited times, of course, at the majors this year. So he's done his running at Pawtucket AAA ball club a lot of the year for the Red Sox organization. 1-0 the count. Betts waiting while all these throws are made. He's their leading base stealer with 19 at the plate. 1-0 delivery on the way, high in the air and over and into the seats and foul. Our Major League Notebook noting the streaks underway. Betts, of course, on top with 18. Ryan Zimmerman, he has had 11 with Washington, and then Puig and Peralta at 10. Reaching base, Encarnacion is still getting on. 42 consecutive games. He's reached base. Mauer's at 33, and Joey Votto, who's having a great year that nobody knows about, is third. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Runner not going, pitch up, and the Red Sox have been chasing those. Foul tipped into the mitt.
Yeah, when you throw 94 to, we've seen 98 on occasion. I mean, you got to get the bat started. And so if you're around the plate, I mean, if this was a game, we'll talk to Kevin Gausman tomorrow, and he said, I don't really think I was wild. But again, they know what they want to hit. Again, when you're in a 1-0 game, you have a tendency, especially when you're young, to try to be perfect. And again, you got to think you got to make the perfect pitches, and if you're not doing that, that's where the pitch count gets to where it is. We're close to 90. We're at 85 now.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Of all the things the Oriole manager hammered on in spring training that have not come true, it's the number of outs starters have recorded. 2-2 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss over the top at 85. Strikeout number 4.
Yeah, terrific pitch right there. Even if he makes contact, watch this ball go down. Little change up, good movement, ends up perfectly located. Let's see, Betts, as you mentioned, 18-game hitting streak. Swings right through it.
If that pitch continues to work as well as it is for Kevin Gausman, he's going to go from a fly ball to a ground ball pitcher, and that will be good news in this ballpark.
Well, he's got a good 2-seam fastball. I mean, forget the velocity. I mean, that's exceptional.
Runner still at first base. Pitch will miss inside Rutledge. He has drawn a walk, and he has grounded out. And a 1-0 count on the second baseman. Bogart's waiting on deck, as Mookie Betts has taken an 0 for 3. We are in the top of the 5th inning. 1-0 count. No attempt to go by Bradley at first base, nor extend his lead. And that pitch is going to be inside. As the pennant chases go on, I thought I saw today that nobody in the American League has been officially eliminated. Every club is still in the race. The National League, Braves, Reds, Rockies, Miami, Brewers, and Phillies have all been officially out. 2-0 count. Fouled off. That one came hard back on Caleb Joseph. Checking for dents on the ball and on his mask.
Well, he's got 2 hits tonight. Not bothering me. I think Bill Miller kind of hold him up just to make sure because of the. Oh, wow.
The mask looks like an earthquake. It's moving in 8 different directions. But one of the reasons for that is those new masks do that to absorb the blow. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Rutledge. Held it, didn't get the call outside. 3-1. Though Gausman continues to have to throw a lot of pitches here to get outs. He's got 1 here in the 5th. Leadoff walk to Bradley, who's over there at first base. Three-1 delivery. Popped him up, shallow right. Second baseman Scope. Jonathan's got it. 2 down. Orioles are proud to support the 2015 Ride to Conquer Cancer, 2-day 150-mile cycling event throughout the capital region. Funds raised support vital cancer research at the Johns Hopkins Kimmel Cancer Center. You can take part in this, rather. It'll be on September 19 and 20. Start and finish at RFK Stadium in Washington. To register, ridetovictory.org or 855-822-RIDE. Here's Bogarts, 2 down. A base hit, and he's reached on a fielder's choice. And will Bradley take off now, trying to get himself in scoring position for Bogarts on a stolen base.
Yeah, there are your pitch counts, 29. I actually, with the lead, as long as you make him stop, Caleb Joseph will throw him out. He does not have a big lead.
No.
We see a lot of guys that get out to the cutoff, but I mean, he's pretty much a stride away from that.
Runner not going anywhere. Bogarts will take the pitch for a strike. Bogart's trying to chase down a batting title. 20 points behind Cabrera. Cabrera's hitting .341, the American League leader. Bogart's coming in at .321, has picked up a point with the base hit he's picked up in the ball game. Here's the 0-1 by Gausman, and that's going to be outside. Bogart's second only to Altuve in hits, and only 2 behind the Houston leader. That's a lot of hits. Orioles' Manny Machado now at 162 is 7th. Altuve's got 174 base hits. 1-1 delivery on the way. Came in, fouled off into the end of the Red Sox dugout. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Bogarts.
Well, we talked about Rodriguez not throwing a lot of hittable pitches. The same with Kevin Gausman. A lot of them. But again, they're either splitters that are diving like that pitch, or fastballs that either right in on the Red Sox hands or down and away. Not too many mistakes.
1-2, 2 down. Bradley off first. And again, Gausman able to get a big strikeout. He's got 5 of them in the game. 1 left on. Orioles lead 1-0. Columbia, Maryland to be his home, and he gave Buck Showalter number 43, which had been taken to outer space with him, and then threw a pretty darn good first pitch. He was commander of Expedition 43, a 99-day mission. Buck Showalter talked about getting that uniform number before the game today.
We get this paranoia about, or do you have rubber gloves when you take it? I mean, it's not like it's been on the moon or something, right? But I think it's really cool. Not wearing gloves or anything, right? He didn't. You never know what, some bacteria from Mars or something's up there. Next day you wake up and your arms ate off or something.
Only Buck. There's astronaut Terry Virts.
I liked it when he said we. I don't know if it's about we. Certainly him.
That's great. From the Air Force Academy, and as you saw, got to he was on the field, met with Buck, and had 3 spacewalks, totaling 19 hours during their expedition.
Oh, so Buck may be right. He was out there a lot.
Could be. You never know. These bacteria from Mars are everywhere. Swing and a miss and a strikeout by Manny Machado. He struck out twice and drawn a walk. That's 7 Ks now for Rodriguez.
Look at Swihart just go up, and I mean, this kid's pretty incredible. He's trailing, but he has moved the ball around like he's a veteran, and he's only 22. I mean, both of these pitchers pitch extremely well. You got to understand the Orioles but they scored 28 runs in the last 3 games with 10 home runs, and the Red Sox they've scored 6 since August 1st per game.
Yep.
These are 2 pretty good hitting and hot teams.
Chris Davis, a strikeout victim, and he is flied out. Quickly behind on the count here, 0-2. You see the pitch count, 87 on Eddie Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez just looks like he's playing catch with Swihart, the catcher. What do you want me to throw? Put it down. I'm not going to wait. It's waste a whole lot of time. He's waiting more for the hitters to get back in the box. And there's Carl Big Train Willis.
Little music inside at 93.
Target away, ball in.
Takes the count to 2-2, and Chris will foul that one off.
Now, they may have telegraphed his pitches the way he held his head or his hand, but from an arm standpoint, you can't read the changeup. That's how good it's been.
Well, he works so fast you don't have time to figure out what he's doing anyway. You're just trying to see the ball. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way to Davis. That'll be foul back. So Chris holds it.
It's kind of funny because Joe Kelly is going to pitch tomorrow night. He's won 8 in a row. Clay Buchholz, now that Bud Norris is over in the National League, he'll be accused as even though he's hurt, slowest pitcher between pitches. Rodriguez is the anti-Clay Buchholz.
Got him on a swinging strike.
And Clay can flat out pitch. It's just some guys. I mean, this is just, hey, here it is. And again, Chris trying to catch up at 95 on the outside third of the plate. Can't do it.
7 strikeouts, 1 shy of his career high. Came against Houston, 8. And here's Adam Jones. Reaching on the air, got the RBI. He's grounded out. Pitch will be outside for a ball. Orioles getting a run in the first inning after Reimold got a single and Machado drew a walk. Jones hit a ground ball misplayed at second by Rutledge, and that would score Reimold the only run of the ball game. 1-4-0 for the Orioles, 0-2-1 for the Red Sox. 6 left on by each team. 2-0 pitch. Jones went around on it. Bill Miller, home plate umpire, make that call himself.
Yeah, the Chris Davis fly ball back in the first was deep enough so Nolan Reimold could tag up. That was the difference, getting to third base.
And that created the run and the only run. 2-1 pitch on the way. So Nolan Reimold, who came out, gee, I got a run in the first inning. Maybe. No. Is still not getting any run support. 2-ball, 2-strike count, but he's got a lead.
Yeah, Rodriguez's pitch count also because of the intensity of the game in 96.
And Jones on 1 down and in becomes the 8th strikeout. Strikes the side out, equals his season and career high. 1-0 Orioles. as you would expect, the Blue Jays on top. Then the Yankees and the San Diego Padres. Not enough for the Padres. Greatest declines in runs scored, the Angels, the A's, and the Tigers. On the pitching side of it, ERA, the largest ERA differential. That's an increase, better ERAs. Astros, Cardinals, and Twins. Hard to believe the Cardinals could improve on their ERA, but they have. And the biggest increase, the Braves, the Phillies, and Seattle. And all three of those teams obviously have really struggled because of starting pitching. So those are some of the numbers that have gone up and down from last year.
Yeah, and then the Mariners, of course, the lowest ERA in the American League last year out of their bullpen.
Yeah.
And this year, bullpen not as good as they expected or hoped.
David Ortiz will take it for a strike. He has walked and struck out. Ortiz comes in with a modest 3-game hit streak himself. He is the American League Player of the Week. 1-1 pitch on the way, and a swing and a miss. He kept it down on him. Of the Red Sox who have reached that 500 mark, Ortiz joins Double X Jimmy Fox, number 9 Ted Williams, and Manny Ramirez, who got their 500th in a Red Sox uniform. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Ortiz will take that one way outside.
Yeah, Manny hit his 500th right here in Camden Yards. And,
left field.
Yep.
Caught by a Red Sox fan, if I remember right.
And then next day said, "I'll see you in Cooperstown."
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry.
Well, you can visit.
Tested.
It's free. It's open.
Tested positive. Not going to happen. Not for Manny.
2-2 delivery on the way. Home run swing, but a pop-up. Jones in center. Ortiz retired. As promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Kevin Gausman holding him down to just the run on 4 hits. The Orioles have not been able to get one on the board with just 2 hits. Or the Orioles have. The Red Sox haven't. With just the 2 hits in the game. Shaw walk, and he is struck out, and he will take the pitch down low for a ball. Shift on in the infield, and the pitch taken inside.
Well, you can, and as hot as they've been, they took them 13 innings to score a run yesterday. Drew Smiley struck out, I think, 11 in 6 innings. Rich Hill, first start in 6 years, he was able to strike out 11 in 7 innings against Tampa Bay. So again, if you make your pitches, you're going to have some good fortune. You may not win because the Rays never scored.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Off the end of the bat and foul.
Yeah, he went out and made, actually, you kind of look at these things. If you're Caleb Joseph behind the plate, or if you're Kevin Gausman, he actually went across the plate to try to reach for that. So tells me with this count, boy, I could get in on him, but it's got to be in. I mean, right on the corner. It's like maybe a curveball.
1-2, and he kept it down.
Yeah, that's again communication between your catcher and your pitcher. Kevin Gausman gets the sign from Caleb Joseph and then executes about as good a splitter, a little bit more off speed because he has a couple of them he throws, and then Shaw way out in front.
So the strikeouts piling up on both sides. Both pitchers with season highs of 8 strikeouts, and both pitchers, those are career highs until tonight for Rodriguez, who now has 9, and Gausman's got 6. Sandoval has a base hit, and he has grounded out. Single by Bogaerts leading off the 4th, single by Sandoval in that same inning, but they could not push a run across. Swung on that one that just skidded across the plate.
Yeah, another good breaking ball, not a splitter, but a good curveball. Sandoval, he got the first and third, but then with Castillo on deck, Kevin Gausman got him to hit a little jam shot, and he was able to get out of the inning.
0-2. Got him to go after one away. So he's got 7 strikeouts, 2 coming here in the 6th inning. Retires the side in order. Last hit off him was Sandoval's in the 4th. He's protecting a 1-0 lead.
The only run, and that'll be in the first. Reimold, who singled, would score on the RBI infield error. And then again, when Gausman got in trouble, he was able to get out of it. And then Eduardo Rodriguez traded last year for Andrew Miller. Boy, he's been great. 9 strikeouts tonight, but trails 1-0 here in the 6th inning. Those are your Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
So Kevin Gausman done. Brett Brock is ready in the bullpen. 1-0 delivery on the way to Pierce on a check swing. 1 around. Bill Miller makes the call at home plate.
Yeah, for Kevin, that pitch count, the highest he had all year was 113. So he had a very efficient 6th inning. Actually, it will end up with less than that.
That one will end up out of play. Well, the Orioles will try and add something here as the 100 pitch count is hit. Red Sox bullpen is also ready to go as needed. Rodriguez will try and pitch through the 6th inning, striking out the side in the 5th. New career high. Line drive. That's short. Handled. Bogarts, and 1 away. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to the March of Dimes. The O's have 361 walks, $18,050. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Matt Barnes for the Red Sox. Jonathan Scope down to first base, foul ball. Scope with the 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded out. Orioles with the 4 hits, 1 extra base hit, the double by Caleb Joseph. Caleb has 2 hits, double single. Alvarez a base hit, and Reimold, the leadoff single in the 1st inning for the Orioles, would come around to score that lone run. 1-1 pitch. That's going to be another base hit. So Scope's got a 7-game hit streak as he singles with 1 away.
Yeah, you start looking how the balls are hit. They've been hitting so few hit hard tonight, but they're going to rock it by Steve Pierce. He gets on top of it. Looked like a changeup and then a little slider. Donovan Scope just hits very crisply into left field. As Rodriguez says, take a look right here. He did not get to the big leagues till the end of May.
And that will be it, as the pitching change will be made. So after going 5 1/3 innings, the former Oriole Rodriguez pitches well, just not quite well enough. And Lovallo on his way out, and Barnes is on his way in. Orioles have the 1-0 lead, 1 on, 1 down in the 6th.
That even though he pitches extremely well, the only Oriole run in the first. RBI. And again, Matt Barnes will come on. It's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. A hard thrower, again, fastball. You can get it up into the mid-90s. He had a couple of starts for the Red Sox early on. Of course, coming last year, he was primarily a starter at AAA Pawtucket. So this year, up and down, ERA high. Good arm, but you know, when he struggles, you can look at the right-handers over 300 at 346, lefties, and then a lot of home runs. And again, good arm, but has to make good pitches. Doesn't always do that.
Caleb Joseph already with a couple of hits, runner on at first base. Barnes on against the Orioles has worked in one game, an inning and a third. The Orioles got a run on 4 hits against Barnes. Rodriguez out of there. Best he can hope for is an ND and a team win. Down the line in right field, Jackie Bradley Jr. going over and will not have a play on it. Tonight for these two starters, Rodriguez, his battles were against the left-handers. Orioles did not have a lineup with a lot of lefties in it. So only 0 for 3 today. Rodriguez on the lefties. On the other side, Kevin Gausman, it was the right-handers that bothered him. They went just 1 for 10 in the ball game today. The right-handers who had hit .280 against him coming in. So he got the job done against the righties. And the fastball by Barnes is going to miss up high to Caleb. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Hardy waiting on deck. Scope on at first with the base hit. And a breaking ball that will be taken outside. They wanted it checked. He did not go around. Doug Eddings at first.
Yeah, one of those curveballs, if you throw it over, I mean, it's a good one. And this is what they're looking at. That just able to hold up.
Matt Barnes, 2 ball, 1 strike count.
I think Jonathan Scope is considering this a compliment. It's 2 for 2, but doesn't run a lot.
6th inning, 1-0.
And a very minimal lead, as you can see. But
nevertheless,
well, that's my opinion, but obviously Matt Barnes thinks otherwise. And they may have a sign throw over.
2-1 delivered. Runner not going. Fouled away. As with Tommy Romo, signs are just suggestions.
How about that game last night?
2-2.
Giants losing in the last seconds.
A Ravens fan first, but a Giants fan second, because that's who I grew up with.
Well, the Ravens, that was another
I didn't have a good weekend.
ending. Yeah, no.
No. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Two, 1 away. Scope is not moving on that lead over there at first base. Outfield very deep. Caleb towards second. Taylor made. Rutledge. Bogarts. Bad throw. And Joseph will reach.
Real bad throw.
Fielder's choice on that one.
Yeah, kind of slow developing, but again, you're 4 to 6 to 3. You're coming that way, not 6 to 4 to 3. Well, again, just makes a throw, but never quite got the angle he wanted. Red Sox fortunate that ball did not get into the netting or into the camera well.
Now is Caleb Joseph all right? And Kirby's walking him down the line a little bit here. Asked for a timeout from first base umpire Doug Eddings.
Well, he had to kind of get out of the way of Travis Shaw, and because Shaw trying to get that errant throw got in his way, so probably had to slow it down a little bit.
So Joseph on fielder's choice. The rule book saves an error on that because of the never assume a double play. A lot of people said that rule ought to be changed. Watch Caleb here as he goes down the line.
Yeah, so running hard, and then right here he'll just, you can see Shaw comes right in front of him, so he's got to hold up. And might have stretched something.
Fastball in there. JJ has hit into a double play and has walked. Two down now, runner at first.
Here's a guy that wants to have a good last 20 games. Frustrating year for JJ with a shoulder injury in spring training. And
Barnes will bury that one down low. Hardy's had a 1-for-1 against him. Not many at bats by any of the Orioles against Barnes in the limited time he has spent with the Red Sox up and down. 1 ball, 2-strike count. Orioles still have the 1-0 lead. First inning run. That's it. 1-2 pitch on the way, and Hardy will foul it back. Oh, the count will stay at 1-2. Starter Rodriguez watching along with Orioles starter Kevin Gausman. Anything scored here obviously would help his cause to get that W. Hardy laces off the glove. Sandoval base hit into left. Castillo will hold the runner at second base. So the Orioles keep it going. Let's take a look at our PNC minor league report. And Columbus defeated Norfolk 5-0. They win the series 3-2. Terry Doyle for Norfolk with the 4 1/3, 5 runs, 10 hits. Mike Clevenger for Columbus. Real fine outing. No hits in 7 2/3 innings.
Wow. Wow. Of course, Norfolk, Ron Johnson, the manager. I would imagine we may see him up here. He usually comes up. Like Eduardo Parr is going to hit here. Favorable matchup. Nobody in their Red Sox bullpen. No, that was the J.J. Hardy we know and love. Fastball in the middle of the plate and just smoked it to left.
Alvarez out of the lineup. A base hit, 1 for 2. Parra 2 on, 2 down. Orioles 0 for 8 in these situations tonight. And the pitch will be taken down low for a ball. Trying to get it in off Barnes here with 2 outs. Orioles have left runners on in all but the 5th inning when they were retired in order.
And of course, with Parr coming in, he's a 2-time Gold Glover, so you certainly don't hurt yourself defensively.
And he will take the pitch outside. Parr's done a good job for the Orioles with runners in scoring position. He's 7 for 25. So at .280 average, that's a good deal higher than his overall average since joining the Orioles. As Parr has been around that .230 mark, hitting .228 right now.
A little bit of power, 5 home runs, 4 of them here at Camden Yards. Pretty good place to hit.
2-0 delivery on the way, and Parr will foul that one back. A struggle to get runs by 2 teams who came in putting runs up on the board. Crooked numbers. Not so far in this one. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Joseph off second base, Hardy off first. Barnes with the 2-1 delivery. And that one will be fouled back as well.
And that little changeup, something other than a fastball and a fastball count. Wasn't a good one. Parr had a nice little swing at it, a little bit out of the strike zone. And if Matt Barnes is ever going to pitch at this level, that's what he's going to have to do. Not that he doesn't have a good fastball, but he's not good enough to throw in fastball counts unless he makes perfect pitches.
Two delivery on the way, and Parra will foul it off at the plate. Kicks it away. Right on top of it, and the ball went right straight down. So Joseph and Hardy will come back to their respective bases. Parra's had a chance coming off the bench, especially with the addition of all the players on the call-ups, extra players. He's gone 0 for 1 with the Orioles, 9 for 16 overall. 2 ball, 2 strike count. And he'll foul that one away. So battling Barnes here with a 2-2 count.
And there's Eduardo Rodriguez. Certainly a lot of interest right here. Keep it close. Gosman, of course, has the lead, as do the Orioles.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Parra, first base. Shaw, the flip. And they get the out. Barnes over the cover. No runs on a couple of hits. No errors. 2 more are left on base.
A hit. And again, when he needed to make great pitches, able to do it. 7 strikeouts, leaves with a 1-0 lead, and you can see used the changeup a little bit more than normal, but certainly very effectively. Only a couple of hits. And the walks not really wild, just kind of had to make the good pitch. So Brad Brock will come on to pitch here in the 7th. Fastball, slider, changeup. So again, hard thrower, plus changeup. Good when he gets on top of the slider. Very good. Great numbers this year. More strikeouts in innings pitched. Walks a little bit high. Again, very low numbers. Did give up a home run on Friday night. But again, pitching very well. Trying to maintain and hold this 1-0 lead.
Brock will appear for the 5th time against the Red Sox. 1 run, 5 hits in 4 1/3 innings against Boston this year. And the pitch will be taken inside. Rusney Castillo leads it off, bottom 3rd of the order. Swihart then Bradley will be due up for the Red Sox, who bat here in the 7th inning, having only 2 hits and no runs. Orioles a run on 6. And the pitch will miss away for a ball. Castillo, little jumping jack in the batter's box there after that pitch went by.
Yeah, kind of game where again, do you get the leadoff batter on and you stay away from the extra base hits? That's what the 1-0 or 1-run games are.
Up in the air outside of first, and there'll be no play on that one. Evidence of the speed. Castillo, 18 infield hits. That's in just 63 games this season. He can fly. He and Betts can pile up infield hits. 2-1 delivery on the way. Rusney Castillo will take it outside. 3-1.
Yeah, not your prototypical Cuban player, because you look at Puig and you look at Abreu, and of course Abreu a big home run hitter, and Puig can run and do so many things well.
Ground ball. Hardy got a hustle. Got him.
Yeah, you got to come on the dead run because of what's going on. Exactly what you talked about, Gary. And maybe play a step in. It's almost like when Britton's pitching. You got to shorten up a little bit.
Cheat a little bit on guys like Castillo.
You know, it's a dead run to get it, and then quick release. And again, got the handle on it. Looked like maybe a little trouble. Take a look right here. Coming in. Get a grip on it. Try to find a seam if you can.
Play by Hardy again with that great clock. 1 down here in the 7th inning. Swihart has flied out twice and will take the pitch inside for a ball. Single by Bogaerts and a single by Sandoval. Both came in the 4th inning. And the Red Sox left the bases loaded in that 4th. Got nothing out of it. Jonathan Scope, 2 down. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. The music's in his head. He'll find the door locked when he gets home. 2 down, nobody on. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. He has struck out and drawn a walk. Pitch taken down low for a ball.
You do that in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? When
rather
you do,
not.
When, no, okay.
It's probably on YouTube, but I don't want to see it. 1-0 delivery on the way and a big cut. Brock with 2 down, nobody on. Not wanting to turn the order over after the 1-2-3 inning. One delivery on the way, and that is there for a strike. That is Tommy Lane in the bullpen for Boston.
And now they will put the 2-strike switch on Jackie Bradley Jr. Everybody kind of going over to the right side.
Which will be taken inside for a ball.
They're kind of pulling the changeup few that Brad Brock has thrown. Well, there is your defense. It's kind of the umbrella defense. And
2-2 delivery lifted the other way, but heading over to the seats. And that will be out of play. So Bradley keeps his at-bat alive here against Brad Brock, who's become the workhorse of the ball club. He has, during the second half of the season, on a regular basis, come on as the setup man.
Yeah, he could pitch multiple innings, too, very much like Darren O'Day.
He comes on in the 7th, O'Day in the 8th, and Britton in the 9th, and he got him. So he gets the strikeout, retires the side in order. 7th inning stretch time. Armaz the do-ups, Reimold, Machado, and Davis. Maryland State Firemen's Associations. Email mdfirevolunteer@gmail.com to volunteer with your local fire rescue and EMS, and by your local Mercedes dealership. In case too many runs are scored, that's the evacuation route. Haven't had to worry about that tonight. 1-0 lead for the Orioles as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Orioles get the top of the order. Nolan Reimold, a base hit, runs scored. And Sense has struck out twice. Nolan now with a 5-game hit streak in which he has gone 7 for 18, picking up 7 runs and 6 RBIs in
a lot
that
of
5-game span.
A lot of walks, 3 home runs.
Fouls that one off at the plate. The 2-strike count on Reimold. Manny Machado, Davis, due up.
Well, long journey for Nolan to get back to where he can play regularly, and at least physically. The Achilles, the couple of neck operations.
0-2 pitch to him is going to be up high. And you get Machi in the bullpen. Tommy Lane had already been up. And Darren O'Day for the Orioles. Working the script right now, the Orioles in the bullpen. Two ball, 2-strike count. That's taken, and it's right there.
Yeah, there's a good hook. In fact, 2 in a row. You know, first one Nolan was able to as it swooped out of the zone, and this one just drops into it. I mean, really good curveball. Give up on it, and then it just like it's dropping off the table right into the strike zone.
Manny Machado's had a couple of strikeouts and has drawn a walk. Orioles have now struck out 10 times in the ball game. And Machado will take the fastball up and in.
Yeah, Rodriguez with the 9, and of course you never knew what was coming, and Barnes the right-handed version of that. Certainly not given in to the Oriole hitters.
1-0 delivery. Machado takes it for a strike. Orioles trying to win their 6th in a row here in this ballpark against Boston. Having one of their better years all time against the Red Sox with that 9-4 mark. Chance to win the season series. A real good chance to do it. Last time they did that was 2011. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Barnes with the delivery. Machado drives it center field. Got a lot of barrel on that one. Way back on the warning track and hauled in. Betts with that great speed as he was playing over towards the right field power alley.
Probably went about 100 feet to catch that ball. Now he will hang up. You can see him all the way over. Look how far he's got to go. And then when the ball hangs, he's able to get to it. And again, a very, 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 very athletic outfield.
So with 2 down here in the 7th inning. The Red Sox are going to make a pitching change with the left-hander Davis coming up. Chris will be up here in the 7th. Nobody on. Joe Kelly. Coverage on Masson. 6:30 O's Extra presented by Southwest. Followed by game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on Masson.
So Tommy Lane comes on, dominating lefties, and I mean dominating. 1 hit in his last 24 at bats. Fastball and a nice little curveball slider combination with occasional changeup. So again, this will be his 56th appearance. It's a career high for him, and then that 141 average against left-handers is the 3rd lowest among American League relievers, and then 6th among all major leaguers. So a matchup. Of course, Chris Davis hits lefties well. We'll see how this goes.
Davis broken by ground ball foul. Lane has worked 2 innings against the Orioles this year, giving up a run and a hit in an inning and a third worth of work. 2 down, nobody on. 7th inning, a 1-0 ball game. That's where the score has been since the first inning of this ball game, where the Orioles were able to push a run across. And since then, it's been all about the pitching and runners left on base. Chris is 0 for 3 off Tommy Lane. Barnes an inning and a third. 1 hit, 1 strikeout. 0-1 pitch on the way. Chris will take it the other way and foul. And the count will go to 2 strikes. So Lane gets ahead of him in a hurry.
Yeah, well, last year in 30 games for the Red Sox, as we mentioned, 56 this year. So he comes over as a minor league free agent, beginning with 2014 and actually pitched very well for him.
0-2 delivery. That'll be down the line, and that 2 will be foul.
One of those lefties that kind of throws across his body, so if you're left-handed, he's stepping right at you.
League's leading home run hitter standing at the plate, and an 0-2 count. Lane's delivery to him, and that'll be outside with a big sweeping pitch. It's mighty tough to hang in on.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, because of the way he steps, the direction of his angle to the plate, that breaking ball probably feel like it starts behind you.
1-2 delivery, and he stayed in and gets a base hit. So Chris is on with a single. Lane does not get the job done against the left-hander he was brought on to retire, and so he'll come out of the ball game.
Well, here's that breaking ball again. He just leaves it up enough, and then the strength factor. Chris Davis just goes out and gets it. Of course, the ball is going to come out, and we met the interim manager with John Farrell going through the cancer treatment. They got 12 guys in their bullpen.
An expanded roster, striking again.
While with Koji Uehara out with the fractured wrist, got hit on a ground ball by Ian Kinsler, but he's come on and he's got good stuff, but sometimes he will be the nibble master, so to speak, and throw a lot of strikes. But again, the other night watched him pitch, throwing 93, 94 miles per hour, good splitter, so he can get you out a couple of ways, and comes out of the Giants organization.
He has never faced the Orioles before, hitting in the third scoreless yesterday against Tampa Bay. Now the Orioles with Davis on at first base, leading 1-0. Adam Jones coming up. RBI on the first inning error that he reached on. He is grounded out and struck out since. 2 away, bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, that's a good number right there. Only 3 of the inherited runners have scored.
Davis back to the bag in a hurry on a quick throw made by Maggi.
Watch Maggi close a game probably about 3 weeks ago for the Red Sox, and it took him about 30 pitches. He just would not throw anything but the balls right on the corner.
Adam Jones will take the pitch away for a ball. 6 saves, 11 chances for Maggi in his major league career, so he's worked late in games. 1-0 count with 2 down. Adam Jones this season, .295 off Boston. Puts the ball up in the air to the gap, right center, way back of the wall. It's going to take a hit. In that corner in the power alley, Adam will go in with a double and an RBI, and it is a 2-0 Orioles game.
Well, it's such a team game when it comes to offense. You saw Adam driving the first run. He hit it soft enough to get an infield RBI, and then Chris Davis off the specialist, 1 for 24. Davis off lefties, and that gets Jones when he gets a single to the plate, and then he hits it to the far reaches of right center field. So far that Chris Davis is able to make it 2-0 scoring from first base here in the 7th.
2 RBI ball game for Adam. And Adam Jones now has 11 RBIs against the Red Sox this year in 14 games. And the Orioles have a 2-0 lead. And the breaking ball in their first strike. Steve Pearce has struck out, walked, and lined out. There is Chris Davis, who battled the left-hander. Got the hit off Lane, Tommy Lane, who will be charged with that run. 0-1 count, 2 down. Jones off second, and a swing and a miss. The Orioles get their first hit with a runner in scoring position. They had lots of chances. They come through. Adam Jones, both RBIs in the game. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and he got him. So Bochy picks up the strikeout, but Adam Jones comes through here in the 7th inning with a big double. Davis all the way around to score, and the Orioles have a 2-0 lead. In 1969, the Orioles clinched their first American League East title. They did it by beating Cleveland at Memorial Stadium 7-3. And in 1976, Dennis Martinez, again Memorial Stadium, Major League debut, 5 2/3 innings shutout baseball in relief to get the win, 9-7 over the Tigers. The first person from Nicaragua to appear in a Major League game.
And then El Presidente would go on to win 245 games in the major leagues.
Not a bad start.
Perfect game. Darren O'Day just wants to be perfect maybe for an inning until you get to Zach Britton. A lot of fastballs. Again, very deceptive windup, different spin, different release point. Another marvelous job. More strikeouts in innings pitched. Righties and lefties in the low 200s. And again, fly ball pitcher. Orioles now present him with a 2-0 lead.
O'Day's delivery is outside for a ball. 9 in a row have been retired. Gosman and Brock working. Brock worked the inning and had a strikeout.
And who better? Betts with an 18-game hitting streak, trying to make it 19.
Here in the 8th inning, pitch will be taken away. He is flied out, struck out, and grounded out. Betts is 0 for 2 against O'Day. Red Sox trying to get at least that potential tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning.
And you pitch to the scoreboard, so Darren O'Day's got to figure, what can I throw for a strike?
Way outside, and it goes to 3-0. Not close on that one. Longest hit streak of his career at 18. Jacoby Ellsbury had the last hit streak of this sort, 19, back in 2013. 3-0 delivery he'll take, and it'll be there for a strike.
And again, because of the scoreboard, you're almost, almost dictates, what can I throw over? It's got to be a strike. And obviously, Betts taken 2 runs down, 3-0. Wants to get a hit, but certainly wants to get on base. Got a pitch to contact in this count with this lead.
3-1 delivery on the way, and he walked him.
Wow.
So the leadoff man is on, Betts, here in the 8th inning. And that does bring the potential tying run to the plate. And Brock Holt will come out to hit in the number 2 spot.
Yeah, a lot of options for Torey Lovullo with a deep bench. We told you 11 guys in the bullpen. Holt a tough out. He can play second base. Pedroia did play the 13 innings yesterday. So
Holt, strong average as the discussion goes on how to work to him. Holt hitting at .277, couple of home runs, 38 RBIs. He's 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter. He will pinch hit for Rutledge, who had an 0 for 2 and a walk in the game, with Bogaerts, the number 3 hitter, waiting on deck. He had upper back spasms that took him out of the ball game on Friday and did not play Saturday or Sunday.
And then you saw Brian Mattis getting loose because he matches up well against David Ortiz.
Holt with a runner on, and the throw over made by O'Day. So the Red Sox trying to get back to it here in the 9th inning. 1 for 2, a home run, the hit he's had off O'Day. Pretty good lead at first, and the pitch will be in there for a strike. So the Red Sox, after having 9 in a row retired, get the leadoff walk here in the 8th inning by O'Day. 5 walks surrendered, 4 by Gausman, now 1 in this inning.
And that's exactly what Darren O'Day didn't want to do. What the Red Sox needed, and just opens up holes.
0-1 pitch on the way. Holt will foul that one off. Just nubbed it at the plate, and a 2-strike count from O'Day. So Darren quickly gets ahead of him after issuing the walk.
And he's got so many options. Not a hard thrower. Darren will probably top out at 88, but he can make the ball sink. He can make it rise. He's got a changeup, which he very, very rarely throws.
5 games against Boston, 2 runs, just 1 hit in 6 innings worked this year. Here's the 0-2 delivery. That's right through the wickets and a base hit. Jones will hold the runner at second base. So a successful pinch hitting appearance by Holt, and the Red Sox have 2 on, nobody out here in the 8th.
Well, the reason Holt's such a tough out is because he'll cut his swing down. He can hit home runs, but he doesn't try to do it. So what do you do with 2 strikes? You try to make contact. O'Day gets a ball too much at the plate, and he hits it right back up the middle.
So Xander Bogaerts coming up. Bogaerts a base hit. He is 1 for 3 in the ball game against O'Day. 1 hit, 8 at bats. 2 on and nobody out. The infield will play for 2. Bogaerts outstanding speed. Betts with great speed at second base. Holt decent speed over there at first. Well, a big moment here in the 8th inning. Nobody out. Swing and a miss. Slowed it down to 79.
Yeah, there's 2 runners you're really concerned about. That's the guy at the plate, because he's the go-ahead run, and then the tying run that's over at first. And as we mentioned, Brian Mattis really does own David Ortiz in a sense, if anybody does. 3 for 26.
For Bogaerts this year, 4th in the league with runners in scoring position, 353. 0-1 pitch on the way, and not a good swing. Good pitch by O'Day again at 79. And the count at 2 strikes. One for 4 for Boston in these situations. They've left 3 on in scoring position, 1 in the first, 2 in the fourth when they left the bases loaded. Bogaerts getting his first chance in this situation. 0-2 count. Set up, down and away. Pitch is there, and he got him. Went around on it, no argument made, and O'Day gets a big strikeout.
Yeah, huge. Now he's got to get himself out of the game, but that was going to happen anyway because of the 3 for 26 Ortiz against Mattis. But this is the perfect 2-strike pitch. Couldn't do it to Brock Holt, and right here he just gets a guy 7th in batting average to wave at a slider down in the way.
2 on, 1 out, and Ortiz will be up.
And again, you bring him in, you can take a number right there. You know, ERA certainly good at 2.76. A lot of strikeouts, 54 of them. And again, they bring him in to match up against David Ortiz. 3 for 26 lifetime.
Mattis's 5th game against the Red Sox. No runs, 2 hits, 3 1/3 this year.
And that number much higher than it has been in years past. And of course, it's a pretty critical number, especially with Ortiz coming to the plate. There are the numbers. This is why he's in there.
On at second base is Betts. Holt on at first for the pinch hit single. Just 3 hits for the Red Sox in the ballgame. Ortiz an 0 for 2 and a walk. 2 on, 1 down. And he'll take the pitch, and it's a strike.
Yeah, got hurt on the home run by Greg Bird on an 0-2 pitch, 3-run home run up in New York. But it wasn't on that kind of slider. That was the perfect slider, low and away. Of course, you got 3 left-handed hitters coming up, so you would imagine this inning's going to be about Brian Mattis to this point.
Pitch on the way, hit in the air to center. Adam Jones over. He's got it. He'll make the throw into second. No chance to double it up. Ortiz, though, is retired.
Yeah, on it.
Couple of fly balls to center.
Yeah, bullet to center.
2 down.
And Brian tries to throw a fastball by him. He hits it hard, but right at Adam Jones.
Now Shaw will stand in, but there are 2 away. Travis Shaw has drawn a walk, and he has struck out twice in the ball game. So Oriole pitchers again trying to hold on to this 3-hit shutout. So far, the big outs necessary have been recorded. That ball will be fouled off the fist the other way. Orioles' Michael Givens up in the bullpen. Shaw against left-handers, 308. 16 for 52 with 5 home runs against lefties.
Hey, 50 points higher than it is against righties. So you can see young hitter, as we mentioned, worked his way up AA, AAA last year. He hits lefties well.
Facing Brian Mattis for the first time. 0-1 the count, and that will be away with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brian will be recognized at the game on Wednesday in pregame ceremonies as the Orioles' Roberto Clemente nominee. That will be the anniversary of the institution of that award by MLB. 1-1 delivery on the way down to first base. Davis has got it. He'll go to the bag, and that will do it. No runs on 1 hit, no errors. 2 more are left on base. Mattis gets some big outs, and the Orioles lead 2-0. Jonathan Scope, base hit. He is struck out and grounded out. Continued his hit streak to 7 games. Pitch on the way and a swing and a miss and a good breaking ball.
Oh, he's got a good one. Pitched in 181 games with the Giants. Won 11-2. Never made a start.
And a same pitch, same result.
Yeah. Little split-fingered fastballs. Saw a lot of those tonight. Kevin Gausman had a great one.
Well, that was quick.
Well,
moved that one a little bit further outside, and Scope went after it.
Gary, also, he had one of those windups, we've seen where you don't even watch. See, he doesn't even go to the stretch. And, of course, the scouting reports would tell you that because that's what he did against Tampa yesterday.
Caleb Joseph. Caleb with 2 hits, 3 at-bats, double single. Adam Jones, both RBIs for the Orioles. One on a ground ball he reached on. Caleb, can you get an infield hit? Sandoval, yes, you can.
Well,
Caleb Joseph's got a 3-hit game.
Hate to predict the future, but we discussed is at the cage. What did he tell us? Baby's got to eat. Well, 3 hits will help. Not to mention, through the first 8, he's called a shutout. That's a pretty good night for a catcher.
Yep. So Caleb Joseph on with the infield hit. For Caleb, that's his 18th multi-hit game, his 5th 3-hit ball game of the year. And here's J.J. Hardy. Hardy has had a base hit into a double play, drawn a walk. Orioles with a chance to add to the 2-0 lead. 9 hits in the ball game for the Orioles. Orioles have 10 shutouts to their credit. The Red Sox have been shut out 7 times so far this season. Orioles will have a chance to continue that in the 9th inning, but would like to have a better than 2-0 lead when they get there. 0-2 delivery. That'll be in the dirt. Joseph stays. Swibard able to hang on to that close enough to hold the runner. Jonathan Arrow in the bullpen. And for the save, Zach Britton. One-two count on Hardy. Outfield will shade to right, given that left field gap. Pitch is there for a strike.
Wow, Bill Miller got a little excited. Hit about a 180. Check this out. High pitch. Whoa, there you go. Hope J.J. Hardy doesn't take this call strike 3 personally. But Bill's going to go. I mean, Leslie Nielsen, nothing over him. Wow. This guy kind of like a martial arts move.
A redo on the movie there.
Yeah, it's the 8th inning and Bill's still moving like that. That's something.
Here is Parra. Taken up high. That's the reason he's still moving like that. It is the 8th inning.
Yeah.
Parra's had one at bat. He grounded out, stayed into play in right field. Alvarez started out there at a base hit, 1 for 2. Joseph on at first, 2 down. Mano a mano, 92-mile-an-hour heat right there.
Well, Parra's 1 for 4. He's the only, at least until tonight, that Gene Machi actually saw, and that 1 hit is a home run.
1-1. That'll be away. Red Sox in the 9th inning. Sandoval, Castillo, Swihart, 6, 7, 8 will be due up in the order. Lavallo, since taking over, 18-10. Team has averaged 6.4 runs a game since he became the interim for John Farrell. Here's the 2-1 delivery on the way, and a ground ball not hit hard. Holt records the out. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. The Orioles need 3 without giving up 2 to get a W.
with a great, I think arguably the best sinker in baseball. And again, you have a chance. I mean, he throws a lot of strikes, knows what he needs to do, and you take your chances.
So Sandoval will lead it off. He's had a base hit, 1 for 3 in the ball game. And Britton's delivery will be in there for a strike to him. For Zach, this will be game number 7. He is 5 for 6 in save opportunities against Boston this year. 2 runs, 5 hits in 6 2/3 innings against the Red Sox. Sandoval, who is 0 for 2 against him, takes the pitch down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Orioles trying to pick up the shutout, a combined shutout. Gausman, 6 innings, couple of hits. He had 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. 1-1 pitch. He could be the winner. Brock's worked an inning, had a strikeout. O'Day, 1/3 of an inning, had a walk, strikeout, 1 hit. Brian Mattis, 2/3 of an inning, and now Britton.
Yeah, there's nobody in baseball that could get the ball to sink at the velocity level that Zach Britton can do at 96 and 97. And then
got him.
Pitch. You know, Gary, I asked him today, I said, if you went back to starting, what would you do? He said, well, I'd probably do this right here, spin it a little bit more. And that ball doesn't spin, it dive bombs. So you just tried to hit 96. And then, as you mentioned, Sandoval, who was a switch hitter, did sign a 5-year deal for $95 million. It's 2 for 41. So he lefty versus lefty. You don't see that very often.
So 1 away. Sandoval out of there. Castillo 0 for 3. And the pitch will be taken for a strike.
Well, you talked about the 18 infield hits, and a typical ending when Britton struggles, they hit a ground, maybe a 2-hopper, 3-hopper. So again, maybe you shorten up a step here. You don't want to hit in front of you. That's the way he can run.
That's a strike as well. So Britton's on the money, throwing all strikes, and the count goes to 0-2.
And now he can pitch out of the zone. Throw something that the illusion it's a strike, but it doesn't end up as one.
0-2 in the dirt.
Well, maybe a little closer to that. It's when you can throw a pitch that starts in the zone and dive bombs out of it.
Gausman on the line for the win would be 3-6. Eddie Rodriguez could take the loss. He would be 9-6 and 0-2 against his former organization, the Orioles, if the score holds up. 1-2 delivery on the way, grounded down to third, backing up, bad hop. Machado plays it and got him. Sam gritting his teeth with a yikes as that one came up on him head high.
Well, that, and of course, you know, Manny, I mean, watch this. He'll come up, he's going to set himself. So he's got a rhythm, and that rhythm's just quick enough to get the speedy Rusney Castillo, because no such thing as a routine ground ball when he's running. It gets him by a stride, or at least a half a stride.
2 down, 9th inning. Orioles lead at 2-0. Swihart up. Blake Swihart doing the catching, 0 for 3. Goes to second. Jonathan Scope. He'll go to first. Ball game over. And the Orioles come away with a victory. And an impressive one in this one, as they shut out the Red Sox by a score of 2-0. The Orioles now take a 10-4 edge in the series. They have won the last 6 against Boston here at home. And the Orioles have a good start to this 3-game set. 2-0 O's.